The biggest mistake of my life. Trading my wife for freedom. I don't expect you to just take me back. I ask for an opportunity to earn your forgiveness. John stood by the panoramic window of his new ultra-modern apartment, which he believed he had bought himself a ticket to a new life. The city below was seething. Lights were blinking, cars were moving, symbols of the very movement and freedom he so desperately strove for. But here, on the 22nd floor, he was surrounded only by a resonant, lifeless silence. He took a sip of whiskey, but even its expensive, aged taste could not drown out the bitterness in his soul. The idea of escape had been maturing in him for months. He, a successful architect of 45, suddenly began to feel that his life was a beautifully designed, but someone else's project. The same route, work, home, the same food on Fridays, the same Sunday night movie-watching ritual with Chloe. Their marriage of 18 years had become a comfortable but faded sofa for him, with no trace of the passion he'd once felt. He wanted a shake-up. He wanted to feel alive again, not act according to a pre-written script. And he found that shake-up. Her name was Mia, a young, impulsive artist with sparkling eyes who laughed at his old jokes and called him a bachelor party in a mature man's body. She was his opposite, unpredictable, flighty, living one day at a time. Compared to her bright colours, his life with Chloe seemed dull and boring. He left on a hot July evening. He told Chloe everything that had been building up for years, about routine, about the suffocating sense of predictability, about how they had become just roommates. He spoke cruelly and convincingly, trying to push the trembling in his knees and the treacherous lump in his throat deeper. Chloe did not cry. She looked at him with such bewilderment and pain that he wanted to sink into the ground. "Okay, John," she said quietly. "Find your freedom. I'm not holding you back." The first weeks were like a never-ending carnival. Nightclubs, spontaneous trips out of town, passionate nights. He plunged into this life headlong, trying to prove to himself that he had done the right thing. But the carnival was over. Empty bottles, credit bills for crazy spending, and a strange, inexplicable melancholy in the mornings remained. Mia quickly got bored with the role of the saviour of a bored man. She needed emotions, and John increasingly withdrew into himself. Their relationship began to resemble a bad play, where the actors forgot their roles. One morning, John came into the kitchen to find that Mia had thrown away his old battered mug with the inscription, "To the best husband in the world, a gift from Chloe for their 10th anniversary. Without asking. "It doesn't fit into my interior design concept," she said casually. At that moment, it dawned on John. He realised that he had traded the person who knew and loved the real him, with all his quirks, favourite mugs and old sweaters, for a beautiful picture for which he was just an accessory, a temporary project. His new, sterile apartment suddenly began to seem to him like a cold and soulless hotel. There was no cosy mess on the shelf, no familiar smell of Chloe's favourite perfume, no her laughter coming from the other room. His freedom turned into the most sophisticated prison, the prison of loneliness. He fell seriously ill. The flu knocked him off his feet. He lay half asleep and delirious for 3 days, and there was no one to straighten the blanket or bring him pills. He called Mia, but she, afraid of catching the disease, replied that she would drop by in a couple of days. In his feverish delirium, he saw Chloe, how she gave him water with lemon and honey to drink, how she put on mustard plasters, although he always grumbled that it was old-fashioned. The strength of the disease left, leaving behind only a clear awareness of his terrible mistake. With trembling hands, he dialed the number he knew by heart. "Hello?" Chloe's voice was even but tired. There was no malice or expectation in it. "Chloe, it's John," he swallowed. I don't know where to begin. I was a blind, narcissistic idiot. My new life, it was a fake. I destroyed everything that was most precious to me. And I understand if you hang up, but I had to tell you. I want to come home, to you." There was a long, painful pause on the other end of the line. He could hear her quiet breathing. "I knew you'd call," she said finally. Your toothbrush is still in the glass. I couldn't throw it away, out of habit. They met in a small park near their first house. A fine, chilly rain was falling. Chloe was sitting under an umbrella, and he noticed with pain new wrinkles around her eyes. She looked older, but there was some new, unshakable strength in her gaze. I don't expect you to just take me back, he began, sitting down next to her. I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm asking for an opportunity to earn your forgiveness. Every day, every minute, I'm ready to start over with a clean slate. There won't be a clean slate, John. Chloe shook her head. You've written our shared page with the dirty ink of betrayal. We can't just turn it over, but it will be very difficult. I'm not afraid of work, he said firmly. I'm afraid to live without you. She silently handed him half of her umbrella. It wasn't a hug, it wasn't a kiss. It was just an umbrella from the rain. But for John, it was the most important gesture in his life. A gesture for the long, difficult, and only true way home. He realized that a new life begins not with running away, but with the courage to return and rebuild what he himself had destroyed.